This is now a Bible study podcast.
All right, let's get into it.
Bible box.
Bible box.
Bible box.
Bible box. Let's do it.
Oh, you're making a bad sex joke. Okay.
I'm very bad sex joke. Yeah.
All right. I understand now.
It just connected.
If you laughed at that joke, please leave this video.
I do not. I mean, it's a good business to be in, but it's a fucking stressful one to be in, being a fucking political pundit right now, because it's like, I do not envy them doing what we're doing right now every day. I can,
Right.
yeah, it's a freaking mess, but yeah. Even that, and he just keeps on going on, and I don't know where he was going or where he was coming from, but it literally doesn't fucking matter, because the fact that Olive Garden was on the fucking television at all when the storming of the Capitol was still a developing story, basically, like.
Hello and welcome everybody to episode 29 of the Unboxing Life podcast. I will be your host today. My name's David. I'm joined by my friends, my lovely friends. Trevor.
My man, you need some energy.
I'm chilling, man. I feel like they'll appreciate it.
My name is Trevor. Thank you for
what he wants to do.
Yes. Please, bro. Let
I'm
me
happy
live.
to be here. Thank you for letting me be here.
You're welcome. Alex.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, what's going on? And your boy, Cameron.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh yeah.
Yo, what's up, man? We are the Unboxing Life podcast.
Yeah, the four of us form like Voltron in this bitch.
Oh
Get
boy!
Shoot you with my shoulder missiles. All right. So today we're talking about stuff going on pretty much in the world and in our lives. Basically, it's a variety box. You know the vibes.
Yeah,
That's very true.
This is gonna be like a current events kind of thing for the most
Yes. Yeah. Join us for that.
part. Got
Here we
some
go.
nasty boys storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. So
Before we jump into that, we're gonna jump into traditions, though.
Jesus, let's check your whole fucking setup that time. My God.
Dang.
my setup being my laptop
Your whole
that's
freaking
on my
setup.
bed.
Nah,
I can't wait to have my own spot.
Yeah,
that's very
dude.
true. That'll be part of what we're talking about
Spoilers,
too, as
that's
well.
spoilers.
Yeah, that's spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah, we'll get to that. Hold on, bro.
All right.
Hold on.
All right, man. Let's
Hold
start with a bit of levity.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? With
Little
Alex's
levity?
little fun, absolutely, you love to hear it. Dad joke of the week.
Before we get into all that,
I do.
though, Alex, you got to bring the heat this week because David just took off the daddy on his name for Zoom, so you got to bring the extra dad.
Extra
To
daddy.
compensate.
Compensate
we
for
lost
the
the
lack
dad.
of daddy. I
That
know.
extra that I get what you're saying. I'm picking
Yeah,
up
you got
what
the
you're
heat?
going
Yeah.
down. Yeah, this one is a one-lighter, friends. So
Ooh.
Okay, you the
Oh,
oven door? All
fucking
right, let's get it.
Mhm.
my friend keeps saying, "Cheer up, man. It could be worse. You could be stuck underground in a hole full of water." I know he means well.
Oh my!
That's dope.
That was
Let's
good.
go, Alex. I know he means well.
Jesus
That's a bar.
Christ, that is a bar. I know he means well.
No, I mean, Drake could say that. Someone could.
That's
A
true.
well-established rapper could spit that, and it would be dope.
Dumping
Yeah.
a hitman Sally with a quarters down the world's largest. Wish you well.
Wish you
Wish
well.
you to do what? Wish you to do what?
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's my favorite bar of all time. Shout out to you if you understand it.
Shout
All
out.
right. Am I going next? Is it me?
Yeah, go ahead,
I
man.
believe so.
Yeah. So my quote has nothing to fucking do with anything that's happening in the world,
Nice.
All right.
and I actually just lost it.
Nice.
All right.
Extra nice.
Where the fuck is it? No.
I mean,
Okay, there you
that
go.
could be your quote
Let's
of the
get it.
week for something going on in the world is, I just lost it.
I just lost it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I found this on, let's see the article name. The article is 56 inspirational, motivational quotes to inspire you to greatness.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. So this is number
You got
4.
You got a quote from Jesus Christ?
I know,
Yes.
yeah.
I
That would be
I
a good
do.
one. He has a
Oh
lot
my
of
God,
good
he's got
quotes.
plenty. I
this is
feel
now
like he
a-
has a whole book of that.
This is now a Bible study podcast.
All right, let's get
Oh.
into it.
Bubble box.
Bible
where you're
box.
What's it
Nah.
called?
Bubble box.
Bible
box.
box. Let's do it.
Anyways, so this quote is from Unknown, and it's basically a derivative of every single quote that ever says something like this in this idea. So it
Makes
says,
sense.
"You learn more from failure than from success. Don't let it stop you. Failure builds character." And the reason why I picked that quote is because I was recently playing on my new PS5.
Oh.
Spoilers for the next episode.
Oh.
But I was playing a game called Astro's Playroom, and there is a trophy that basically has you go through 8 bonus levels after you beat the game, and it has you speedrun it, and you have to beat all the levels within 7 minutes or less. And so there's a couple levels that kind of gave me some hard time, and I was like kind of screaming my head off. And it's like a fucking 12-year-old like little kid's game. It's like a very easy Mario game, little platformer. But I failed a lot, and I had to keep striving and learn from my mistakes. And,
It built character.
Builds
That's a good
character. It builds my platinums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you're out there
Platinum,
struggling, just know that if Trevor can platinum a PS5 game, you can turn your life around.
True.
Not even you can do. It's like you can turn your life around.
Yeah. You can
Alrighty.
conquer your demons. All right. Is that the one where you're like inside the PS5? Is that what that one is?
Yeah. It's such a phenomenal game.
Yeah, they ranked
That's
it.
cool, yeah.
I saw a ranking of like top 10 PS5 games or something like that, and they ranked it like pretty high. So seems cool. So yeah.
Got a lot of editor's choice awards.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty fucking cool.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyways, Cameron,
I'll
you
go
wanna give
next,
us
and we can let
your
Dave
daddy
cap
fact?
it off. Not everything needs to be daddy.
Everything is daddy related.
David takes the daddy off his name, and Trevor just loses his shit and starts throwing it in front of everything we talk about.
Quote of the
That's
week
what
is
happens when you don't have a dad. You just lose it.
Oh man. Oh no. Now we're getting a little too.
but-
We're getting a little too real.
This shit just gets so deep.
God damn. Oh my
God
goodness.
dang.
All right. My fact of the episode is that in April 1933, Amelia Earhart and Eleanor Roosevelt were at a White House event when they whimsically abandoned their guests for a joyride flying to Baltimore and back. Roosevelt later stated, "It does mark an epoch, doesn't it, when a girl in an evening dress and slippers can pilot a plane at night."
Dang, she's wearing an evening dress and slippers?
Yep, she was
Dang.
in her white evening gown, her formal dinner wear, and she slippers being the idea of like a glass slipper, not like a like bed
Oh, yeah.
slippers. I mean, obviously she wasn't wearing glass slippers, but like
Cinderella
actual
Elvis Peak.
dress shoes and like a nice evening gown, and she just nipped out to the backyard, fucking
Nip down, huh?
flew
Yeah.
the plane to
It's a little
Baltimore and
exciting.
back with Eleanor.
Yeah, freaking. That's pretty bossed
Nips
up.
out on the plane.
Yeah. Have you ever seen?
Join the Mile High Club.
Okay.
Sorry.
Eleanor and Amelia.
Oh, you're making a
So-
bad sex joke, okay?
I'm very
Got it.
bad sexual. Yeah.
All right, I
It just
understand now.
connected. It
Yeah.
just connected.
If you laughed at that joke, please leave this video.
Leave a
Oh my
dislike.
goodness.
Or the episode on any DSP that you're on.
Jesus freaking Christ.
Anyways,
All right.
Day Vision, what do you have cooked up for us?
Give us your Bible
you
verse of the
got
week.
a high bar to catch because that last week's recommendation was a little good, man.
Really
Like that, in a
good.
sentimental mood.
Thank you.
Got
Shut
got
up.
me feeling some type of way.
That's dope.
Appreciate that. It's always nice. Some good time for some smooth jazz.
Fucking facts. Life is
Mhm.
made for jazz. Oh my god.
We lit, man. My track this week is so similar.
Ooh, okay.
It's not. It's FDT by YG and Nipsey Hussle. I don't know if the people out there have
Wow.
heard this.
Good fucking choice. Good fucking
Bit of a-
choice.
It's a classic too, man. You know.
How does the hook go?
Fuck Donald Trump.
Yeah.
There you go.
What? I couldn't hear you.
Fuck
That
Donald
was
Trump.
pretty
Fuck
good.
Donald Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good
Oh.
impression. Rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, of course. And
Rest in fucking peace. Man.
It was
Oh, boy.
it's a significant track for multiple reasons because they like the video is like Bloods and Crips coming together behind one message, and like Nipsey had Crip affiliations, YG has Blood affiliations, and
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just-
Very clear if
When
you
did
pay
that-
attention to any of his album arts.
When did that drop?
Right,
Was that
right.
like when he took office?
2016.
It was when it was during the election. They were like, there's a message like encouraging like young people to get involved and thinking
Gotcha.
about the future and stuff.
I think that might
I,
have been
like
like
it. I always love it when gangs come together.
There you go. I mean, hey, stop the violence, start the music. That's what I said.
For sure.
very true.
Okay, guys.
Track.
So on the FDT note, we're gonna jump right into what was it? Yeah, you're gonna.
Yeah,
Every time
doing
you say
that.
it, I'm just gonna have to do it.
You're just gonna keep on
That's
fucking
a
doing
workout, dude. Every time, that's a workout.
the
Well,
the events of
You
Wednesday.
were living under a
I
rock.
believe it was.
Was it? I think it was Tuesday.
Was it? Oh well.
We're talking about current events. We don't
Anyway.
even know when it happened.
I know we're living under rocks apparently, but
We
I don't
are.
remember days anymore. Time has no meaning.
Honestly,
whatever.
like it's fucking Friday today, and it feels
Yeah.
like a Thursday for some
So
reason.
anyway, one way or another,
Yeah.
we're a couple days removed from the events of the storming of the Capitol, as we'll refer to it as.
Of Panem.
What'd you say?
Mhm.
Of Panem.
Yes,
The starving
I don't
game.
know.
The starving games.
yeah, there's a reference for you.
So obviously, this is not exactly a news podcast. So
yeah.
we're not going to cover necessarily like the minute by minute events and everything, but I guess
Yeah.
some of the bigger stuff that happened, like the death that did occur, who was involved, the
actually.
players,
There's 4 people.
Four
yeah.
people that died.
4 people total.
4 people
Mhm.
died.
And then the one thing we're going to definitely touch on to a high degree is the difference between the way that these protesters and, well, that's a light word for it in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they're more
it's-
like domestic
it's,
terrorists.
I mean, it's quite literally, yeah, terrorism. I mean, if you look at the definition of terrorism, it's using excessive force on usually in public places in order to exert or achieve political gain. And what besides like taking the Capitol building by force, like what else can you
what else
call
could you do in America?
that besides terrorism? It's like that's what that is. So
That sounds like a fucking Division 2 mission.
Yeah.
Like when you have
it
to
literally
relieve
was
it of a stronghold. Yeah, I think that was the final raid of that game, right?
steal the Declaration of Independence was one of the fucking was one of the
National
missions.
treasure.
It
Right,
says
national treasure on
says
it, yeah.
secure it, but yeah.
Fucking
Yeah. So
Nicolas Cage in this bitch.
yeah, but for what you were saying, just real quick, it is January 8th, Friday when we're recording. This will be coming out a few days afterwards. So this is just information as we have it. Again, not news, more just our
For
thoughts
sure.
and certain things we're thinking about. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
When I initially saw this, I was at the park with Rocio, and it popped up on my phone, and I read it out loud, and like I was in like disbelief, but almost not at the same time. Like it's kind of like I was
Yeah.
very unempathetic about it. Like I didn't know how to feel about it. But as I started watching videos and seeing the chaos that ensued, it's this is an unprecedented thing that's happened, and I don't think we
Absolutely.
fully understand the ramifications of this.
No, definitely not.
yeah, we were talking about times where the Capitol's been attacked in the past. It was like what 4 or something
Yeah,
in the
so
past.
let me pull up that article.
Which,
So look-
which is each one is a unique situation. So this is
Yeah,
still
and very
a new
spaced
thing.
out.
Yeah,
It's never once has it been one political affiliation within America versus another executing this kind of thing. So
This comes from BBC News, and the article is called "Capitol Riots: Has the U.S. Legislature Been Attacked Before?" And it's happened 4 times apparently. Once, the first time was the most famous attack, basically by British forces during the War of 1812.
Yep.
British troops led by Vice Admiral Sir Alexander Cockburn, Jesus, and Major General Robert Ross.
It's rough.
Ricky Rose.
That's a name where you have no chance but to join the army and get
Yeah.
as much power as possible, because otherwise
facts.
it's like homies
just
are
not gonna
laughing
get
at your
respect.
name, so you have to just pull rank
Cockburn.
over them. You just have to pull rank over them.
I didn't
over
want
and
to
over
laugh
again.
at it because I thought we were being serious, but
Nah,
but
I mean,
said
we
it
gotta
like
bring
that.
a
Yeah,
little
make fun
fun
of
into
that.
it.
That's funny.
for levity. Yeah.
But
What are your
they said-
orders? Cockburn.
Yeah, no, that's true. Alexander Cockburn.
What is your duty, Cockburn?
Do your duty,
God damn.
Cockburn. All right. Anyway.
Go burn some cocks. But
Okay.
they apparently set fire to the still under construction Capitol after invading Washington, D.C. in August 1814, though the building did survive thanks to a downpour, which is fucking wild to think about.
Interesting, yeah.
Another one happened, 4th of July dynamite attack. A century on from the British attack, former professor of German at Harvard University exploded 3 sticks of dynamite in the Senate reception room. It damaged the building, but no one was killed. And they said that the attack was in response to American financiers aiding Britain against Germany in World War One.
So just that one guy. Wow.
Interesting. So that's quite literally terrorism. Definitely.
Yep. Another one was an attack by Puerto Rican nationalists in 1954, where 4 Puerto Rican nationalists pulled out the island's flag and shouted "Freedom for Puerto Rico" as they opened fire from the visitors' gallery of the House of Representatives, injuring 5 congressmen. And then there's a quote that said, "I did not come to kill anyone. I came to die for Puerto Rico," cried the leader Lolita Lebron during her arrest. Interesting.
What the heck?
That's a weird quote.
Yeah.
And the last one
weird.
that it's
shooting people.
Very confusing. The last one is it's titled "Resistance Conspiracy Bomb" in 1983. On November 7th, 1983, an explosion ripped through the second floor of the Senate. Just minutes before the explosion, someone claiming to be from a group named the Armed Resistance Unit called a Capitol switchboard warning of a pending attack, saying it was in retaliation for U.S. military actions in Grenada and Lebanon. But there were no casualties.
Wow.
So most of these have ended in no casualties.
No casualties. Yeah, in the past.
Luckily. This one did not say the same.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I guess it's not the same.
Is there a difference between, like, casualty is death, right?
I believe when people talk about war, when they list casualties, that's wounded and killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took me a while to learn that too.
Yeah.
There's not another word for, like, just deaths, right? It wouldn't be fatalities.
It's just fatalities or deaths.
Yeah.
I think casualties are anything within an armed conflict that results, or within an accident, whatever you want to call it, that are injuries or deaths.
That always, like,
or one resulting in the other.
Whenever
yeah.
Because sometimes they use it just for, like, deaths, and then sometimes they mix the two. So it's a little weird, but
I think it's a term that's it's one of the several words that we use over and over again that they become synonymous depending on context or whatever. So I don't know, but that's splitting hairs at this point. So anyway,
there's a quick history lesson for you guys, but this one ended in 4 deaths, and one of them was basically video recorded, like maybe 8 feet away.
Yeah, very close.
Did you get to see the video?
I saw it, yeah, and it completely justified, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, he the guard had barricaded the door. Graphic content warning, obviously, if you find that video.
If you don't want to watch that, please don't watch the video.
Because the woman, she didn't die there, but she died in the hospital after being in critical condition for however long. And so they had gone up the stairs. They were on some level of the building, and they had barricaded off a section. They being the Capitol Police, like the people there on guard, standard on guard at the Capitol, who only have sidearms. I believe
it was a Secret Service agent that ended up downing her, right?
Yeah, probably.
Because he was in a black suit.
Yeah, so he had barricaded the door, which had big glass windows, and so they had gotten up on top of stuff that they had pushed in front of to be able to break the windows and climb through. And she's like, it's a little out of frame in the video, I think, but when you can see the guy pointing the gun from the other side of the window, and she's like actively breaking the window and like about to come through, and he pulls the trigger. He literally just shoots once.
Just once.
And he must have hit her in the chest pretty squarely. You can't see a lot of in the neck. I couldn't see a lot of blood on the video, so I couldn't really tell.
I didn't see any blood.
Yeah, so I couldn't really tell, but I don't know. But anyway, they were, and at that time as well, there were like Capitol Police guys in like full riot gear with full rifles, like up on the staircase right behind where she got shot, and then of course she gets shot and everyone freaks the fuck out, and they're like, everyone's got their phone out recording, so there's probably like 18 angles of the same moment there. Talking about like they murdered her. It's like, okay, yeah, bro, like she's literally like, you would get like I'm gonna get into this over and over again as we run through the events of the day, but the absolute delusion that these people live in is insane to me. It is remarkably, it's a remarkable phenomenon of psychology, of like not being able to, like, I guess it's like a utter lack of empathy or brainwashing to where they just have no idea what it is to be anyone but themselves or to respect anyone else's point of view, to the point where they fucking like still believe that if they do this bullshit, they can walk into the Capitol building and change the results of a fucking verified election. And it's like,
which is a crime. Like,
which is
when they
like,
when they storm the Capitol, that is a crime.
Yes.
Everyone that was inside there committed crimes.
yes.
Yeah, we had
To be very clear.
That's members of Congress like hiding under their desks and stuff because there were people there, and I was like,
they had to lock it down. They had to.
Yeah, and they just fucking walked in, so you don't know how many of these people are armed. They found two, I don't know if it's confirmed like literal bombs, but like what looked like and operated like a pipe bomb. That was outside of the committee headquarters, I believe. I think one. I want to. Don't fucking quote me on this because this is like. But I believe one was outside the RNC headquarters and one was outside the DNC headquarters. But they could have both been in the same place. But I don't know. It's not. But that was one of the tweets I saw was like, when they found bombs and they're still using the word protesters. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I don't really
come on, guys.
Don't get using that word right now.
It's literally on any day by yourself. If you trespassed in those areas of the Capitol building, you would be like tackled and arrested. If not, like, if you were a perceived threat, you would just get dropped by the fucking Secret Service, like.
Which is, I'm so like, I mean, going back to that case real quick, is I don't want it to seem like we're eager supporters of state violence or killing, but
no, not at all.
It's a really, like I think there are tasers and certain procedures you can go through, but also,
absolutely,
that scenario is really not an easy one to.
At least from what it looked like in the video, if she had gotten over, that would have incited a lot of people to follow in her footsteps. And I don't know how close they were to people that were important inside the building at that point. But at a certain point, they were so overwhelmed. It was beyond diffusing at that point.
We talked over
point, like in the perspective of like a Secret Service or guard or whatever they have you. From their point of view, they're going into work as like it's like a typical day. Now they got all these people to deal with, and in the moment they have to, quite literally, it's fight or flight at that moment. What they're feeling,
so
they have to. They don't know what could happen. I mean, as far as they know, those people, if they get through, they're coming for them next or something. So
that's what I was gonna say. Is that well, two things. One, remarking on the like being for state violence or whatever. The best tweet I saw was that has over 1 million likes now. Was that we're not asking you to shoot them like you shoot us, from an African American account. We're not asking you to shoot them like you shoot us. We're asking you not to shoot us like you're not shooting them. And that's the central point. It's like, this is ridiculous, not because you're not shooting them, but because you do shoot us if we do shit like this. It's like, and that was... Barack Obama tweeted out earlier today an article about a data analysis using like a fuckload of data from protests from May 1st all the way through December about violence used at BLM protests versus at anti-mask rallies and other right-wing led protests, and the utter disparity in force used and everything. And it was, I mean, just... Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave. I can read the specific stuff just to give an idea. I think that there's another graph I wanted to maybe link with this too, but between...
Where did it come from?
What was it? A metadata analysis by...
He's saying the site, I think the source.
Yeah.
It's a journal. It's a journal. In the journal, they link all their sources. I clicked through them before I even sent it to you guys to make sure they were verified.
538.com. 538 is typically considered a apolitical statistic reporter type thing, but And people can go check on this too if they want to, and that's nothing wrong with that. So
yeah, like I said, it came from Barack Obama's Twitter, so you can find that real easy.
you can find it easily. Yeah, not that.
I believe
Yeah.
he's very famous.
I think a
That's
couple
so
people
true.
know who he is. Yeah.
A little bit.
I
He
think
is
he did
famous.
run a country for 8 years.
Yeah. So I just between May 1st and November 28th, 2020, is according to the article, of course, on the studies. Authorities were more than twice as likely to attempt to break up and disperse a left-wing protest than a right-wing one. And in those situations when law enforcement chose to intervene, they were more likely to use force, 34% of the time with right-wing protesters, compared with 51% of the time for the left. Given when this data was collected, it predominantly reflects the difference in how police respond to Black Lives Matter compared with how they respond to anti-mask demonstrations, pro-Trump extremists, QAnon rallies, and militia groups. That was Cameron sent that in the chat. Credit to you for sending that, and then it was yeah, that's a good excerpt, I thought.
Case in point being that when the protests, which then turned into in certain places riots and looting and whatnot, by not even necessarily by BLM people. I mean, we can go all the way back there and talk about how people were coming in from outside of the city and everything to start like to rile up bullshit and whatever. But Donald Trump tweeted out, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." That's direct from his Twitter.
I think it's like word for word.
Yeah, word for word. And then when right-wing pro-Trump extremists fucking raid the Capitol and steal podiums and take pictures in senators' offices and everything, only for, like barely any shots fired. Like they were let in. I mean, there's videos of the
police
bike
officers waving them in.
And then there's everything that the comparisons was like when the BLM protests were going on in Washington, there were already like rows upon rows of National Guard soldiers fully kitted out with rifles on the steps of the Capitol building. And there was like just a few cops, just a few of DC Metro Police. I mean, just a few is still like 100. But and then they had it barricaded off with fucking bike barricades that A, any semi-athletic person could just vault over, but B, they then just pushed them out of the way and met no resistance. And then they just obviously started climbing up the walls and breaking windows and like forcing their way, literally breaking in to the Capitol building. And it's like there was a statistic that I don't know where I found it. I hate fucking sharing shit like this without remembering the source. But it was, I think it was Hassan Abi, Hassan the Hun, the political commentator on Twitch, who tweeted out the stat. And he's usually very, I mean, he's left wing, but he's usually very reliable when it comes to stats and fact checking and bullshit like that. And he said that it came out something like 82% of cops voted for Trump, like across the United States. Like,
yeah, and that's what I was going to get into, the reaction to violence. Like, you know, the statistic I just read and what you're talking about is like, you know, there's a lot of reasons for it, but, you know, it's easy to see why these people aren't perceived as a threat, you know, and to the status quo and to police and stuff. You know, There's a lot of perceptions around if this was obviously, you know, a black revolutionary mob or something, right? Like demanding certain freedoms and equalities. It's like, that's, first of all, that's very separate from a lot of police officers, and it's a very different experience from what they're used to, probably from a different part of town. They look different than you. And the things they're demanding from a political standpoint are going to threaten the status quo and change things for, you know, in a certain way.
Yep.
These people are like, you know, from similar areas, maybe believe similar things, and obviously they're taking it to an extreme extent, of course, but also the thing they're trying to fight for is literally keeping the status quo. Like keep the same president in charge, who is also very nice for police officers and for corporations and things like that. I think that all has something to do with it.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hard agree.
Yeah, and just as a quick thought experiment, if you don't agree with the disparity thing, is like, again, just imagine it's like, you know, it's like they have flags that's like Black Lives Matter. It's like 90% black people charging in, taking over the Capitol building. It would have been, I mean, So many deaths.
A war would have started. A war literally would have started.
Another one I saw was about it took 150 years, but finally a mob marching underneath the Confederate flag made it into the Capitol building. Because there was a literal video of, I mean, there were several of them touting Confederate flags, and it's like that's a whole nother fucking conversation that drives me nuts, but so I won't get into that. But yeah, I mean, the disparities are just massive. Over the summer, the cops were tearing up cases of water, making sure that the protesters wouldn't have it to drink or to wash the fucking tear gas out of their eyes. And then there's a video or a photo of a cop helping a pro-Trump Capitol stormer fucking wash. He's taking a bottle of water and helping him wash tear gas and pepper spray out of his eyes. And then what was the other one I just had in the top of my head? I don't know. Well, I remember that. Someone else whose voice is not mine take over.
I wanted to just I found the BBC article that led me to the attacks on U.S. legislature, and the article I read before that it kind of outlines what happened with the Capitol, and there's a specific part where it details what happens with his speech that he gave. I think that same day.
Oh yeah, that was
where I'll just read the paragraph. It says Trump rallies supporters just before midday local time. 1,700 thousands of people gather at Ellipse near the White House to hear the president speak at a Save America rally. He tells them, "We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try to give our Republicans, the weak ones, the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country." That last part being that taking it back, as in you lost the election and you think there's fraud.
Yeah.
So you think that you're deserving of the seat, and you're not. But it kind of incites what happened that day.
And that was like his message. Also, like when they, I guess, were inside the Capitol, or like had already stormed it. Like the message he gave out was far below the bare minimum. He was like, "You guys are right. Like this is a fraudulent election." And this
the tweet video.
Yeah, I think so. And he basically just says, "You guys like are right," which obviously in a political extremist mind, or in a lot of people's minds, completely justifies what they're doing.
Exactly.
But he says, "Okay, but let's be peaceful. Go home." And what was it called? Like, "You're very special."
Yeah, I love you. You're very special people.
I love you.
But
you're
please
very
go home in peace. Which is like literally just they're just not gonna listen to that last part. They're already there. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. And he knows that.
To be clear, this goes for any politician or someone in power.
Yeah, of course.
This is why you have to hold them to such account. Their words mean a lot, and they can't get away with below the bare minimum here. That's he has to come out and condemn this and say, like, you're wrong. You can't, like, there needs to be some bare minimum met, because this matters. And the rhetoric that he's been spewing, and like all these right wing YouTubers like Steven Crowder have been spewing about resisting the freaking COVID lockdowns with guns and stuff.
I think Matt Walsh is another shitty YouTuber that's super right wing and laughs at anything else that isn't his ideals.
Yeah, and it's like I wonder where the idea of taking back the country violently came from. Like, look at the past months since the election ended. Like, it's duh. Like,
but he did vow for a peaceful transition, man.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. At the very end of everything, at the very end, when I got the fucking news article at like 3 a.m. or whatever, that Congress had finally that. I don't think
it was like 4:30.
Well, whenever it was like 3 a.m., 4:30, whatever. That Congress had officially verified the results of the Electoral College, and Joe Biden is officially president-elect of the United States.
Hallelujah.
It's like such a fucking redundant, exhausting process. I do not. I mean, it's a good business to be in, but it's a fucking stressful one to be in, being a fucking political pundit right now, because it's like I do not envy them doing what we're doing right now every day. I can, it's a freaking mess, but yeah.
Like, my first reaction to this was just like, this is the only group of supporters that would ever do this. Like, if their candidate lost, like, in my mind, I don't think
it's a Trump cult.
it's like, yeah, I think I told you last night, he's not a politician, he's an icon. So it's just the rules are different for him. They look at him different.
He's the godhead of the Trump cult. It's literally like they view him as right and correct in every way and faultless. That's the ultimate thing of any like cult type organization is that your leader can do no wrong. Like he's always right, even if he contradicts himself in the same sentence. Like go ahead.
Of course, if he whines and moans like the little, whatever that he is, of course they believe him. And, he's too much of a coward to just say he lost fair and square. And obviously...
hurts his ego.
Yeah, everything is about his ego. When COVID was going on, and as it still is, and so many Americans were dying, in interviews he's talking about how the media is unfair to him. Like, hey man, you're a loser and a whiny little bitch, and you are so weak. Oh my god, I don't know how anyone perceives that man as strong.
Yeah, big facts. But, big facts.
Yeah, such a weak-minded, weak-willed, had everything handed to him, just loser, scum of the earth.
He had a small loan of $1 million, and he went far, man.
Yeah, and then his dad died. He inherited more money. He had business connections from the day he was born. Yeah, he still failed businesses and exploited immigrants in his businesses and ran scams into the ground and screwed people over.
Fucking Trump University.
Yeah.
Well, in the words of the wise man himself, you're fired.
Goddamn true. But so it was posed to me, his mentality as like, well, option one is he's literally just lost it. He's literally just off his rocker. But I don't really go for that option because
I don't think that's true at all.
It would be somehow even worse than it is if that was the case. Yeah. Option B is that he actually believes he won and that there is fraud committed and that he should be winning and that it's actually being stolen from him. And option C is that it's all just song and dance and he's just doing all this so that he maintains his cult following as strongly as possible, and then once he's out of office he can start the fucking Trump News Network and just continue being, like I said, the godhead of the Trump cult and have a following and make massive amounts of money off of the publicity stunt that was the last 4 years.
That fucking tweet that you sent me yesterday of was it Sean Hannity that was talking about Olive Garden?
Yeah, it was like the state of Fox News right now, like trying so hard not to talk about it.
He spent 19 seconds like droning on about how much he loves unlimited breadsticks and salad, and occasionally you get free pasta.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. That is a nationally syndicated news network, and he's talking about Olive Garden when they're storming the Capitol of the United States.
I have no idea. I mean, it was not during it, but it was right after when, like, literally, obviously, all the other news networks are still covering it because bullshit is developing, and they're covering the deaths and the circumstances, and, like, where is everyone now? Because there was only the figure I saw was 12 arrests for the couple thousand people that were there.
That's it.
Yeah, dude. Like, literally trespassing on the Capitol is an easily arrestable offense, and they walked in, walked out. Like, they got escorted out as opposed to being fucking tackled and put in handcuffs.
Yeah. That has to be a felony.
I'd probably. It's trespassing on government property with malicious intent. I don't know if that's exactly how you would phrase it in a court of law, but probably pretty close. Like... that's literally, I mean, it's domestic terrorism, like we said. So, but yeah, I don't know what the fucking context of the piece they were doing, but it was just his face with an Olive Garden picture in the top right, and he was like, listen, I love Olive Garden, you know, like you go there and you get, like Trevor said, the free breadsticks and like even that, and he just keeps on going on, and I don't know where he was going or where he was coming from, but it literally doesn't fucking matter because the fact that Olive Garden was on the fucking television at all when the storming of the Capitol was still a developing story, basically. Like it had come and gone, but like all the circumstances were still yet to play out and all the blowback and everything. And it's like, how are you doing in fucking like primetime 5 o'clock, whenever it was news? Like Hannity's only on the air at prime time, I think. I don't fucking know. I don't watch Fox, but it's like it's like, how is this a story you're running? It's like they're trying so fucking hard not to villainize Donald Trump because they just want to continue to align themselves with him for his fucking following. It's literally, it's what we say over and over and over again, is that these are not fucking news companies. They're entertainment companies, and they're going to do what they do for the almighty dollar and for absolutely fucking nothing else.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, is don't trust any of these giant news corporations. They all lie a lot. But But I've noticed this trend with Fox News where I even myself, like I would look at the news app, show different articles from Fox News and then CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, and like whenever super huge stuff that was going on that made the right look bad, they would just like cover fluff pieces, and that would be like their main thing. And then because they always spin stuff to like oh, this is actually, you know, Antifa did this, but also we're proud of the people who did this or whatever. And then like, because they're always going to spin it, but sometimes it seems like they needed like a break period to like, okay, how are we going to spin this? How are we going to get this out to all of our anchors and just
so
like
he just started talking about his favorite restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, all right, give us a minute, give us a day, whatever. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That's true. I mean, he's like one of the most paid news people on TV. Fox,
I think the most. Yeah, I think Hannity is the biggest news anchor deal.
And I need to emphasize this because people, this drives me crazy who watch Fox News talk about the BS from the mainstream media. Fox News is the biggest like news network on television. They're gigantic and they are the establishment. Do not get tricked by their completely bogus rhetoric. It's ridiculous. So,
and they also completely own and control a fucking litany of hundreds of local news stations. So
I will say this is kind of funny that if my dad ever hears this, this is blasphemy to him because
my dad too.
Yeah, he was if baseball wasn't on, it was Fox News.
Damn.
It was Bill O'Reilly 24/7. It was Hannity. It was all that bullshit that was on TV, and that's probably why I hate politics. Because it was just
it's probably why
such fucking bullshit on all the time, and I just wanted to distance myself from it. So shout out to you, Dad, if you listen to this. Please open your mind.
Open your mind.
Same to you, to my dad.
Talking shit to my father on my podcast. This is great.
Yes.
So I wanted to turn the conversation over to our fourth member, who we haven't heard a bit from in a while, who is our resident Trump voter. What do you think of all our comments? What do you think of the current state of Trumpism in the cult?
I've just kind of been sitting here just listening, just because like I don't really like to I don't like to talk about I don't fully understand
completely fair.
The actual facts and stuff like that. So like I'm not gonna say nothing if I'm whether knowingly or unknowingly putting out like misinformation, you know.
Yeah.
But I think from like feelings and stuff, like I know from me and family and talking to like other friends who have like the similar political opinions as I do, it's like there's these people that have this crazy mentality of like you said, I guess you could say this cult, and they're rioting and storming, even though we vote for the same person. Like our views are not like
aligned,
completely different. Like I would never I'm never in favor of any type of rioting or attacking of anything at all. So, and then it's hard for me to see that because even they don't represent me, but
exactly
to everybody out there, like they represent the Trump supporters and whatnot. So I just think, that in that aspect is where it's unfortunate.
I do have an interesting question. Do you guys always think that rioting is bad?
Currently, maybe. I mean, in the past, when it was like when the wealth disparity was like so egregious that people were literally starving to death. I mean, people kind of still are here, but it's like you can obviously shown by the peaceful movement of the civil rights movement of the 60s was completely peaceful and just marches and just speeches and everything, and like a lot of the violence was the opposition to that. So obviously change can get made peacefully, but if you're, I mean, not at all defending them, but like the Puerto Rican nationalists felt the situation in their country was so bad that that's what they had to do. They had to commit an act of terrorism to get paid attention to. And that's not to say that like they were maybe, I mean, I don't know. What were you going to say, David?
Yeah, I was just going to say too, cuz
so wait, let me qualify that before I fucking end my career. Like that was obviously terrorism is never a good thing. Obviously killing people is never a good thing, but we talked about this on our BLM episode of that, like destruction of property shouldn't be valued over life. And it's like if you're like literally screaming out for change for such a long time and nothing changes, then I don't think it's necessarily wrong to be like, listen, you can't just stomp all over me. There can be consequences. Like, I'm not just gonna take this fucking lying down. Like, I'm gonna yell and scream about it, and if it keeps on happening, then like physical action is taking place. That's why war happens throughout the history of humanity.
Don't tread on me.
Okay, yeah.
Like no one has ever settled a fucking territory dispute just by sitting down at a table. They go out and they fucking kill each other. So that's why I said in the current state of the world, in a first world country, obviously, that we like to call ourselves, even though our roads are falling apart and whatever. Sorry, I'm getting too far down the rabbit hole. Yes and no is my answer to is riding okay.
It's I was just gonna say it's interesting because I mean I think so terrorism does have a wide definition to where you could call a lot of rioting terrorism, and that's fine if you want to do that too. I just think there's definitely, in my mind, there's a differentiation. So yeah, I mean an attack on a government building, people are inside, you're rushing the security guards and everything. Yeah, I guess basically violence towards people, I never try to justify in any way, and I don't. Like Cameron said, it is. I mean, maybe the best person to quote from is MLK, where he said, "People who make oh my god, I shouldn't get this wrong, but basically, if you make protesting or peaceful resistance impossible, you make rioting and violent resistance inevitable." So things don't change peacefully, this will happen. It's not even like you can say it's right or wrong, but it's going to happen. And that's all of human history will back that up. So I think if people are like burning down a target, I'm not saying that's good, but again, I value human life infinitely higher than property and
physics, facts, factoid, factory, whatever else you have.
I'm not saying So
I'll tell you, it's like a slippery slope, kind of, because there's a certain point where it's like, what are they fighting for, type of thing. Like, I'm gonna try and be more specific. There was like, I seen this because I mean the civil rights and stuff has been going on forever in America. So like rioting and stuff has been happening. So I seen a video that popped up in my recommended a few months back, and it was from like when the LA riots was happening all those years ago, and it was this small business owner, and they like destroyed it. They like absolutely destroyed his business, and he was like crying. He's like, what? He's like, I'm part of you. I'm part of you. I'm part of the people. I don't have insurance on my business. You just destroyed my business. And at that point, it's heartbreaking because it's like, what are you fighting for, man? Like, you just destroy your own thing. So like, it's hard. It's hard in that way. People are upset, and they have to express that. It's gonna get to a point where it boils up, and then.
What's up, Cameron? Oh, your mic is dead.
What the heck, man?
Put it on pause.
All right, hello.
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry, Alex. You're making a good fucking point, and I had the fucking wave in your face.
Well, I think
it's back now. I don't know at what point that died. I mean, it seemed like everything I was saying came through right up until. So anyway, jump back in. Sorry.
You think Alex is? Were you? I wanted to say
from the end of whatever Alex was saying. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what's up?
No, I think I was pretty much done. I don't know. That kind of made me. I don't know.
I agree. No, you were talking about the small business and how it was heartbreaking that the guy that with no insurance lost his business, and because of rioting and all that kind of stuff. I do agree that small businesses, it's a little heartbreaking to see people lose their income over that, especially if they've worked their entire fucking lives for the one thing they have. But for those large corporations, I kind of don't have any sympathy.
Not at all.
They can pretty much afford to lose as many businesses that get lost in these riots. It's nothing but a fucking tax write-off for them at the end of the day. So
they definitely have the insurance.
They absolutely have the insurance. It's those people will not lose their jobs. They'll just be relocated.
And
Yeah, I don't have any sympathy if we lose a fucking local target. If that means that my black brothers get the rights they deserve.
Yep.
Yeah, but to Alex's point, like I agree with you guys saying, if it's so in the specific case it's a small business, then yeah, I agree. I mean, Killer Mike said I had to give this speech like on one of the first nights of rioting after George Floyd was killed, where he's basically saying like, look, this rioting in Atlanta, like you are destroying some local businesses. Like, don't burn down your own house to spite your enemy. Like,
exactly.
Get cutting your nose to spite your face.
Yeah, get politically involved and like, not just voting. I'm not just saying that. Like, there's get money involved with it. Get out on the streets in a very direct, pointed way. I definitely believe in having specific goals and fighting for them hard in the most peaceful way possible. And I mean, honestly, just go watch Killer Mike's speech. It's going to be better than what I'm saying. But yeah, so I'm in agreement with I'm in agreement with Alex on that, and also with Trevor on the big corporation thing. So
it's kind of a fine line. Find the local targets. Don't find the mom and pops. If you have to do it. If you have to do it.
I know. And the last thing too is just like, another part of that MLK quote is he's saying like,
which is a fantastic quote, by the way. That's incredible.
Yeah. And he says, and then he goes on to say we should condemn the conditions that create riots as vigorously as we condemn the riots, saying like, because like the riots aren't going to stop if there's some right.
MLK be hitting different, man. I'm saying.
I know.
Jesus Christ, he was the hit different guy.
He has something going for him. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, so
yeah,
if you're in a country, in a society where there's just this problem, and of course it has to be a legitimate problem that's going on, where it's just been going on for so long, it's like, it is inevitable, and you have to, like us, like people getting on TV angrily being like, you shouldn't burn this thing down, is not really going to help anything, because in the case of like,
that's not the root cause of the problem.
And I would differentiate from a specific attack on a Capitol building that's like created by this myth that this guy didn't lose. With there's a societal condition where people have less money, they have nothing to lose, and then their government keeps killing them for no reason, and it's gone on since the country began. Like again, like if you condemn it, that's not going to stop it. The police killing and hurting those people just is going to make more rioting. So you have to, if you want to stop the rioting, address the conditions that created it through. Yeah,
absolutely.
Very well said. I kind of want to transition us to another topic that's basically related directly to the storming of the Capitol, which I thought was very fucking funny.
A little bit later, yeah, related to this.
If you guys don't know, there's a big website called Twitch.
I told Trevor this and he fucking freaked out. It was hilarious.
Dude, I thought because I don't think a lot of people understand how this is going to affect Twitch in the long run.
But we'll see.
I think it's very detrimental to their platform. But anyways, this guy there's a set of emotes on Twitch if you've never used the website, and basically it's like emotes, or like not emotes, it's like emojis.
Yep.
And they're like cutouts of faces that people make, and there's like one for LOL, like LOL. There's one for PogChamp, which is what we're talking about, where they do the whole the surprise face. That's probably the most famous one next to Kappa.
Yeah.
Right.
It's low PogChamp and Kappa are like the big three.
LOL is like,
and that's based off of another guy, but
yeah. So the guy that the emote PogChamp is based on sent out a tweet on that day of the storming, and
Gutex Gutierrez.
Yep. And the tweet reads, "Will there be civil unrest for the woman who was executed inside the Capitol today, or will the hashtag MAGA martyr die in vain?" And because of that, Twitch took down his emote, PogChamp, which is probably the most used emote on the website.
People, it's literally,
it's close.
Yeah, it's literally transcended the like. People will just say "pog" out loud.
Pog.
Like
they will say "pog." They will say "poggers, my doggers."
PogChamp. Yeah, they'll say it out loud, like in conversation, like
Poggies,
not like on Twitch or like over like literally like on voice chat or whatever in life, like something cool will happen or something great, and people will be like, oh, Pog. Like, oh, PogChamp. Like,
it's just like, that's lit. It's transcended everything that Twitch is. But
yeah, exactly. So they banned that. So you think there's gonna be rioting?
I think it's like in the same way that you were talking about the whole trap thing being banned from that one anime thread that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a whole different fucking thing. But
I think that'll have somewhat of it. And I don't frequent Twitch. I have no idea what the landscape is. Like, I have no idea if anything's happening. This is me speaking out of my ass. But I do think that it will cause a very negative wave towards them. I don't think that they're gonna sit there and let that emote go away without a fight.
Yeah. I mean, it is an interesting line because it's a very clear reason why they took it down. And
but at the same time,
he said like some questionable shit in the past.
No. That emote is not associated with anything political. It's quite literally him just as a surprise Pikachu face, like, like.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's not like you're really censoring a person and what they can say. They're not necessarily. I mean, they obviously have like guidelines anyway, but it's like
guidelines that they break every fucking day.
Right. It's like it's a likeness of this guy. It's his picture who has said this stuff, which could, dying in vain. That's obviously, it sounds like talk of inciting more violence. And then, he's been like an anti-vaxxer in the past. Apparently, said like crazy stuff about race. I don't know. I don't know what the backlash is going to be. It's kind of just a funny story to me for sure, but I don't use Twitch again, like Trevor. I don't know. It's
I wonder
totally
how Jamie feels about it.
Yeah, right. It's totally not associated with the guy, like you were saying, but
that's where my problem lies. With I don't think it needed to be removed.
I think it's completely associated with the guy. I think it makes sense. I don't think it needed to be removed, but I get why they're doing it from a corporate standpoint. But like, associating yourself
even
with
if you just look at the
figures,
even if you look at the tweet, it only got 147 likes. I mean, that was 3 hours, but it only got 147 likes in 3 hours. Like, not a whole lot of people saw that. That could have completely went under the rug, and no one would have even known he said that.
Well, I mean,
maybe
yes and no. I mean, that like there's some no life out there fucking banking that shit, like looking to create problems. So, I don't know. I think it makes sense from a business perspective, largely because yes, it's been part of the culture like throughout the history of Twitch, but I think it is largely replaceable to a degree. Like, you can, like, within a year, there's gonna be another like synonymous emote and thing that people are gonna be saying like in conversation and using, and not even or being like, they'll like, it's like F for PogChamp or whatever, but then like use the fucking.
I don't think PogChamp will ever be forgotten.
It won't be forgotten, but it'll just be.
It'll be replaced.
I don't
go into the twilight.
They have to come up with a new emote for what that emotion is, and that guy is not that unique. I mean, honestly, like, I think it'll be okay, and I get why they did it. Although I don't really think it was necessary, but I don't know. What were you gonna say, Alex? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like, from like, I guess it makes sense from a business perspective, but at the same time, it kind of promotes this standard of like since he has controversial opinions, that you have to like completely unalign yourself with him. And I think that even though it could come across as insensitive, as long as it's not like absolutely crazy, it's not completely bad to like not cut ties with him. Like, he could still be the emote, but then they could like have a statement like, we don't align with what he's saying, but still like not cut ties, because in a form it is censorship. Like,
I get, but I mean, but it's not like
their website
or anything, but it could build to that.
Yeah,
just where you have,
it can build. I get the idea of creating a standard, but I mean, the stuff that I heard that he was saying and stuff is kind of like, I don't think that it's just like, we disagree with him, we should get rid of this. I don't even think that's what they're doing. I don't think that would be good to do necessarily, but it's like the anti-vax stuff is just obviously false and is dangerous, and But then the most recent thing is like that is, if he said, I like Trump, I don't think they would have removed it. I think the last part of that tweet is kind of pretty dangerous sounding in terms of like not dying in vain. Is like, let's get revenge, or let's do something bigger as a response to that. To me, it sounds like that. Which is definitely kind of a line for me. I don't know. There's different lines, I guess.
I guess a question is like, how much weight do you put on his words to even incite anything?
Not much.
Yeah, I think that's a fair question to ask, but from their perspective, it doesn't matter.
I guess I feel like it should matter, but
yeah, they don't. It is the thing of they don't want any association, so they're gonna go that way. But yeah, I don't think like the influence of the emote is just so totally bigger than him, and not really.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you his first name or last name. I had no idea who the guy was. It was just because of the emote.
Yeah.
I just said it, and I've already forgot it.
I think his name is Ryan Gutierrez.
Go Tanks.
His Gutex was his handle.
Yeah, Go Tanks.
If you call it. Haha, Go Tanks.
I'm going Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyan. I'm turning blue, bro.
I'm turning blue, bro.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I mean, it makes sense. This is a pattern that has been followed by companies, social media companies, and really just brands of any kind. Like, I don't remember his name, but he was like a pretty up and coming, doing very well for himself, getting sponsorships and shit, and he accidentally fired a gun on stream, and it lost him like literally his entire career. And all he did was accidentally shoot his wall on stream, like, because and then that starts a whole conversation about firearm safety and like with this, that, and the other thing, and then he just lost all his sponsorships. And so I understand the take that it's ridiculous, but that's literally just what brands do. They're going to protect themselves. That like figures and sponsees, I guess, people that they sponsor are very, very replaceable. And so like at the first sign of danger, they can afford to just drop whoever they want. So it makes sense from the business perspective, but I definitely feel the take that it's ridiculous. I get that.
Yeah.
Speaking of ridiculous, how ridiculous shit how much ridiculous shit would a musical artist that you enjoy personally would they have to do for you to boycott them and never listen to them?
Related to this thing, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So the one when you brought that up,
the Segue Kings.
Segue Kings.
In what way?
So, like, I guess like the most notable example is R. Kelly.
Because that's exactly what I was going to say.
A lot of people still listen to him, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people quote unquote abandon Eminem music whenever he made the stance that if you're with Trump, then don't listen to my music. So I guess like my question to you is, what does an artist have to do in order for you to boycott them?
Yeah. Well, I know the R. Kelly thing is interesting to me because I was that way. I liked R. Kelly. I liked his music, and like all this stuff coming out about him, I don't listen to R. Kelly no more. I skip that.
Yeah,
if it comes on random, I skip it. Like,
and I think
just can't.
I think it's a case by case basis, at least with especially with him because of what he was convicted of doing and having a sex trafficking ring.
Yeah, and it was the way he went out was outrageously really disgraceful as well.
Yeah, I mean he was going to marry Aaliyah and she was like 13 at the time.
Yeah,
like there were plans for him to groom her like legally to marry. He's a fucking freak. But his music can be taken as him living those events as they happened before he got convicted. So it's different with him than it is with other people per se, because he's literally like one of his like was age isn't a number is Aaliyah, but I think
he like wrote it
was like an executive producer and all that shit. So it's like it's disgusting because he's living his life through those songs. So if you listen to it, you're just like, oh my god, he's courting very young women into his bed.
Yeah.
So with him, it's if you're a pedophile, it's I don't see how you can listen to him. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like even the Biggie track, like the "Fuck You Tonight" track on Life After Death. I loved that song. I fucking loved. I can't listen to it now
Yeah.
I'm fucking you tonight. No, you're not. I'm skipping.
Yeah. Or is it?
First things first. Fuck R. Kelly.
That is
Stop
true.
listening to him. Please stop streaming his music. That's
So-
bottom line. Please don't ever purchase anything that he
Alright.
puts out.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
just pirate it. Honestly, steal his music if
Yeah.
you want to listen to it.
Yeah,
like
fuck him.
he doesn't deserve a
Fuck
cent.
him.
At the very
at all.
least, steal it.
He doesn't deserve
That's
anyone
fucking
going
funny.
out their way to pirate music of his. So
That's true.
also true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your time is much more valuable than you could spend listening to any other person but him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we talked about
Um,
zero empathy. Pedophiles are on the list of negative empathy. I literally like,
Right.
and that's when you brought this up in pre-pro. This is a topic. My immediate thought was like that I'm like I can't watch I never watched House of Cards, and now I know that I can't watch House of Cards because Kevin Spacey is the fucking lead actor, and he's supposed to have this commanding performance and be super dope. And it's like, I just hate looking at your fucking face because I know you diddle kids. Like it's like I can't watch that show that's like super highly rated because he's so disgusting to me.
It's different with him, at least for me, like because there's a movie called Baby Driver.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I fucking adore, and that didn't ruin it for me. But
Yeah.
I don't know to the extent of what he did was criminal. I didn't really keep up with his case, but
Yeah, it was.
you know how Eminem touched on everything but little boys? He did the opposite. Yeah. So
that is true.
yeah. So there you go.
speaking of Eminem, Trevor brought up like Eminem and saying whatever his political thing. Like for me personally, like I couldn't care less what Eminem has to say politically. Like I can like separate. I know there's rappers that have like political commentary in their raps, and that's super insightful. But for most rappers I listen to, their music is separate from their political views. So I can totally respect their political views. But if Eminem tells me not to listen to his music because I like Trump, I don't really care about that. I'll still listen to Eminem. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. So
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I know.
so the line is criminals, and it's mostly pedophiles. Like if they were a murderer, like say if they were a serial killer.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I mean,
If Eminem was the serial killer and he was living out his raps on relapse when
my
he killed
God.
women on there.
No, I wouldn't listen to him. No,
obviously,
yeah.
then I couldn't. Then
still
yeah,
over my
that
line.
ruins everything. Obviously. Yeah.
like,
Okay.
yeah, that's
That ruins the songs that he raps like that on, or does that ruin his entire discography?
His entire discography. If he's like literally killing people because he gets pleasure out of it or because he wants to, as opposed like because a lot of rappers talk about like gang violence and shit, that they have bodies that they've killed people, and it's like that's like part of the culture and everything, is like that was survival, like that was living as opposed to dying. Like I understand that, like that doesn't ruin people's music for me if they've killed people in that sort of a situation. But like yeah, like you said, if it's literally a serial killer, then I'm like, oh no, God no.
Okay, so what if he's just a murderer then? Like I don't want to I don't want to minimalize being murdered. Obviously,
he killed one person. So if he like
not
if
one, just if he killed anyone. Like, and if it was like maybe it wasn't self defense, maybe he raided someone's house that he hated, and he ended up popping him, killing him. Like say if DaBaby ran into someone's house, shot him.
The baby
like,
had self.
He has killed people, yes.
Yeah, and but
Self defense, yeah.
Everyone was vibing to that song "Murder on My Mind," and then they realized it was true.
I'd never vibed with that song.
Well, no, I know what you mean.
I thought that guy was a complete clown.
Yeah, agreed. It was just super popular, and then it like fell off, but also didn't really when people realized he was talking about actually having killed someone.
Yeah, I don't think
so that's
it
an
even
interesting
fell
take.
off. It is interesting because
it definitely didn't fall off.
It's like
I don't
if
know.
the content is similar to their real life, like you were talking about with R. Kelly, then it's awful. And then if someone like murdered someone, like if Eminem did that, and then I'm listening to Recovery and he's like, I had this hard time with drugs and I'm back and it's great. It's like, I don't care, bro. You killed someone. Like it ruins the emotional impact of that song because it's supposed to be his story and you're supposed to care to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not inspirational anymore if you came off the drugs and just killed someone or something. Like I don't know. It kind of and it depends on. I think sorry if there's dogs in the background, but it depends on, like Trevor and I had talked about like Kendrick or something, which Kendrick's one of my favorite artists. A lot of what he talks about is like
pretty
political, okay, like social stuff, like real people's issues, and
yeah,
I want to believe that he's actually an empathetic, smart, caring person, because that's the only way it feels somewhat genuine to me. And if he was like,
so what if he was a complete asswipe?
that's what I'm thinking. Like, if he was not a criminal but just a complete jerk, like, not if he made some arrogant mistakes or whatever, but like just an awful guy to be around. I think it dampens it for me still. And I would still listen to Kendrick, I think, in that case, but I would
probably laugh at it more than it would dampen it for me.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a massive pet peeve about hypocrisy. So it's like if it came across as like hypocritical, if he was like not living the way he was rapping, then it would be like unlistenable for me. But that's more of a personality thing than like a fucked up thing.
Unlistenable, huh? So if he was just an asswipe, you wouldn't listen to Pimp a Butterfly?
Not an asswipe, but if he was literally like, I mean, not Kendrick per se, because it's kind of hard to be hypocritical about social justice, but or like I guess that's what I would say. If he like if Kendrick comes out wearing a MAGA hat, it's like, come on, bro. Like you've been
Kanye wearing a MAGA hat do anything for you guys with his music?
I mean, I think Kanye is like a break in personality, like halfway through his discography or whatever, right? So it's like that's a whole different thing. I mean, I don't think I'm not a fan of new Kanye anyway. So
you know that.
Yeah,
but like and I mean, I do believe to a degree the idea that it was all song and dance, that he wasn't actually like aligning himself with Trump for political gain or for whatever. He was doing it to like get people out of jail and stuff like that, which I've heard, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I want to believe it. I guess.
Yeah, I would like to put more research on that.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not sure how much I believe it.
I want to be quoted on, but yeah. So I mean, that was the whole freaking thing. I mean, I think Kanye's obviously, people have been. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. Never mind. Yeah. So no, it doesn't. Old Kanye isn't ruined for me or the Kanye that I already like isn't ruined for me by him being a Trump supporter, whether or not that is actually even a facade or if it's true in what he believes.
Yeah,
and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about like rappers and then their political opinions when they have music and their opinion is separate from their music. Like it's not like if they align with me or not. Like I can like separate. I'll deal with it. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to political, I mean, we talked over and over again about how Trump is like the most divisive president in history and all this shit, and like that. Then political affiliation becomes violence. So it's like if it's like the type of people that would raid the Capitol if they were also artists somehow, like then I would be like, okay, like you're inciting violence, you probably like are super racist, like all this shit, like I'm not going to associate myself with your art even if it is like good. And so like objectively good. But if someone's like a Republican, then I don't fucking care. Or a Democrat or whatever. I mean, I have alignments on both sides when it comes to specific issues, so or topics. But so anyway,
what, David?
I was gonna say, I think part of it was just the is the show, or I was thinking about shows too, because there's certain anime where voice actors have been like accused of stuff that's bad, but I can still watch the anime pretty easily. And then
I have a thought.
It gets into gray area to me.
Before I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to make sure I got this out. My mom and I were talking about this article that came out. Not even an article, just like news broke that the guy from That 70s Show, Steve. Steven? I think his name's Steven.
Ashton
the guy,
Kutcher?
the curly hair guy, with the glasses.
Oh no, not Ashton Kutcher.
No,
I don't know his actual name, but I know the character you're talking about.
Name, but he was accused and convicted of raping 3 women. And that totally ruined his character for me.
Yeah, I did see that.
That came out last year. So it's funny that we saw that because Rocio and I were watching that show together. Like we got to season 2, and now I don't know if I can even watch that show now.
That's
you raped 3 women. I didn't even like that character to begin with.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that would ruin it too. He's a mainstay on that show, and he's always talking and
absolutely He's a main character for sure. So yeah,
That's
that's
one of the main 5 or 6 that are on there.
Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah, that's so like situations like that kind of ruin things for me. But
Yeah.
Like, I remember David was talking about voice actors and stuff, and I know Vic Mignogna, who was the voice of Edward Elric and others in like Full Metal, but I don't see. I'm fuzzy on the story because I don't remember exactly. I know he was accused of like being sexually inappropriate. I like I said, I don't want to like say anything too much because I don't know the full story. But I know at the time it was just strong accusations. I'm not sure if he was ever convicted on it. So like, that's a whole difference between like accusations are like and allegedly than like actually.
Yeah.
There's
that's just tough.
Like,
there's countless like examples of this. There's a band called Of Mice and Men, and the lead vocalist Austin Carlisle has been accused last year, and he's been accused several times, but he was accused of sexually abusing several women, like multiple women, like hundreds almost. And
Oh my.
yeah, like everyone just started coming out of the woodwork when someone, did. And like, I guess they had a case open for him. Like they were investigating it like late 2011, something like that, way back when they were popping. And then it opened back up. And that would be heartbreaking to me because they were one of the founding bands that I found when I got into metalcore. So if that comes out that he like rapes women, that ruins like 3 amazing albums for me that shaped my life. Like, and that would just be so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of sexual deviancy is definitely unforgivable, and it's like it just, like you said, it just fucking ruins shit like that. It's like, it's like I can't take you, like I can't find. I mean, Hitler had some good paintings, but he's fucking Hitler. It's like,
you can't.
It's
there's
like
there's an amount of empathy you can't have. You can't really feel like you're on the same level or whatever. I can't feel like this rapper is really talking to me, or I can really see the world from their perspective. Because I was going to talk about it with anime too. There's a classic, famous anime called Rurouni Kenshin, and the creator, the writer of the entire show, is like a pedophile, and that came out recently. And it's like,
damn,
like that show is known to be great, but like the entire thing is from a pedophile's perspective, and that like
Can't watch it now.
I can't watch it. Yeah, and if it's like a side voice actor who did something bad, then I can sort of ignore it or something. There's a lot of. But that whole perspective thing,
I don't know how I feel about voice actors doing shit like that.
Yeah,
because like it's weird because they're not they're playing a character. They're not on the screen.
Yeah, it's a much easier mental separation.
Yeah, it's exactly like you can sort of
forget,
push it to the side. Yeah, you can totally forget that it's even him because you're in a completely different universe. You can't even see his face.
Yeah.
And plus, there are sub and dubs. If you don't even want to support one, just listen to the other.
That's very true.
Not for everyone necessarily, but yeah, definitely across the board in general.
I just thought that was an interesting topic.
Yeah, it's a whole. People fall on very different places on it, and I get it. And
I think it's very case by case.
Yeah, you're definitely going to take into account what's going on with the specific thing, I guess.
That basically wraps up our.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna wrap it up by saying it kind of plays into what we're talking about, everything going on politically, the PogChamp thing, and people what they're doing to make you stop wanting to be with them. So people's opinions is way different than their actions, what they're actually doing, and so like we're talking about, there's a fine line, and I think with that we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Well said.
All right.
Yeah.
This was fun though.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. This is, I mean, a lot of serious talk. I mean, and I think it's
not
a good
different for us, but rare for us, I guess.
Yeah, we're back with a variety box. We like to cover the music and anime. Now we're back with this, and
yes, sir.
We hope you enjoyed, and let us know what you think about this.
About the very many polarizing topics that we talked about this episode.
For sure, yeah. We welcome it. So yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, it's been as real as it can get, for sure.
Sounds like the Chipotle slogan.
Yeah.
As real as it gets.
Oh, there you go.
Don't do me their slogan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, there you have it. Thank you all for listening. I love you all. I love everybody of all different views. Whatever you have to say, tell us in the comments what you think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is let us definitely rate and let us know in the comments or in the review what you thought of the episode, what you think of our takes, and what your takes are. Because this can definitely be more of a conversation, as we've demonstrated on a couple of episodes now. So, yeah, adios, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. Thank you for the continued support. If you're new, try to hit the subscribe button and stay with us. We upload twice a week. And yeah, peace out, baby.